Wendy-ya-ho, Wendy-ya-ho, Wendy-ya, Wendy-ya, ho, 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 hey-ya-ho, hey-ya-ho, ya-ya-ya.
Wendy-ya-ho, Wendy-ya-ho,
Wendy-ya-ho, Wendy-ya-ho, Wendy-ya, Wendy-ya, ho, 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 hey-ya-ho, hey-ya-ho, ya-ya-ya. Wendy-ya-ho, Wendy-ya-ho, Wendy-ya, Wendy-ya, ho, 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 hey-ya-ho, hey-ya-ho, ya-ya-ya.
Please stand if you are able and join us in our opening hymn, When in Our Music. Number 36, yes. When in our music God is glorified, and adoration leaves no room for pride, it is as though the whole creation cried, Alleluia. How often making music we have found a new dimension in the world of sound, as worship moved us to a more profound Alleluia. So as the church in liturgy and song, in faith and love through centuries of wrong, born witness to the truth in every tongue, Alleluia. Let every instrument be tuned for praise. Let all rejoice to have a voice to raise. And may God give us faith to sing always. Alleluia.
Good morning. Welcome to our worship service here at Central Unitarian Church in Westwood, New Jersey. My name is Susan Usatine, and I am happy to serve as the worship associate for today, a very special Music Sunday. CUC is an inclusive community of all ages which embraces diversity in identity, expression, and spiritual belief. We gather together each Sunday in worship to find inspiration, hope, renewal among this community of like-hearted individuals. If you are visiting us in person, please be sure to say hello to one of our welcome hosts. Carol and Allison, give a wave. Thank you both. And if you're visiting online, please be sure to click on the link provided in the chat and sign our guest book by providing us with your name and contact information. We are grateful to René Galván, Matt Anderson, the CUC Choir, John Freund, and Phil Sosinsky for combining their extraordinary talents this Music Sunday. We invite you to stay after service for coffee, conversation, and connection in this same space. Coffee hour is hosted today by the choir. A few announcements to share this morning. Today is the last chance to RSVP to the Iftar dinner on March 11th, hosted by the Peace Island Institute. Scan the QR code on the flyer or send an email or voicemail message to the office. Please also do consider signing up to be a coffee hour host. We have a few open spots coming up, and the sign-up sheet is in the back near the door where you came in. Third, as announced in our weekly CUC newsletter, on March 28th at 7 p.m., there will be a showing of Black Barbie at the Unitarian Society of Ridgewood building at 113 Cottage Place in Ridgewood. There will be refreshments and discussion to follow. As we begin to prepare our service this morning, we ask those of you here in person, please do silence your electronic devices. And now we will more formally begin this gathering. I'd like to call Becky Bruce forward. Becky will light the chalice as we speak the words which are based on our vision statement. We light this chalice to remind us of our dreams, to nourish our heart, mind, and spirit, to work towards a better world for all, to embrace the whole of our human experience, to honor our past and our gifts of the present, to create a community where each of us may find healing, transformation, and hope.
This is Leonard Bernstein on making music in troubled times. I have just returned from 2 months in Europe, where I followed the election news assiduously. I've been appalled at the passivity of the electorate, at the lack of even the most elementary principles of democratic thought and action, at the degeneration of our language, at the lulling, the brainwashing, the disinformation. I love my country, so much in fact, that I am putting all my energies into seeing it into a better day, a more tranquil night, a shining and limitless future. We musicians, like everyone else, are numb with sorrow, but this sorrow and rage will not inflame us to seek retribution. Rather, they will inflame our art. Our music will never again be quite the same. This will be our reply to violence, to make music more intensely, more beautifully, more devotedly than ever before.
We are not alone. Our lives are built on shared commitments, giving and receiving together. Our congregation serves as a place where we intentionally practice this shared living, interdependence in a culture that overemphasizes independence. One of the ways we practice our interdependence is through our congregation's finances, which depend on the generous contributions of our members and friends. We pause each week to recognize this particular form of sharing, each of us giving what we can to support the mission and vision of the Central Unitarian Church. Your financial contributions help each and every one of us to grow, to serve, and most importantly, to live lives centered on love. Our offering will now be gratefully received.
Caritas et amor, ubi sinceros, los sinceros, los sinceros. Ubi caritas et amor, ubi caritas et amor. Deus ibi, Deus ibi, Deus ibi, Deus ibi est. Ubi caritas et amor, et amor, et amor. Deus ibi, Deus ibi, Deus ibi est, Deus ibi est. Deus ibi est.
May we join our voices together, speaking our dedication words based on CUC's mission statement. We dedicate these gifts in service of our mission to welcome all into a home of spiritual diversity that challenges us to become our best selves, to minister to one another in love, and to serve the greater community.
Our second reading this morning is An Artist's Duty by Nina Simone, an American singer, songwriter, pianist, composer, arranger, and civil rights activist, born in 1933 and who died in 2003. An Artist's Duty. An artist's duty, as far as I'm concerned, is to reflect the times. I think that is true of painters, sculptors, poets, musicians. As far as I'm concerned, it's their choice. But I choose to reflect the times and situations in which I find myself. That, to me, is my duty. And at this crucial time in our lives, when everything is so desperate, when every day is a matter of survival, I don't think you can help but be involved. Young people, black and white, know this. We will shape and mold this country, and it will not be shaped and molded, or it will not be shaped and molded at all anymore. So I don't think we have a choice. How can you be an artist and not reflect the times?
We want to tell you so you know, we built a coffin for old Jim Crow. Keep your eyes on the prize, hold on. Tell your butcher, your baker, your clerk, we won't buy where we can't work. Keep your eyes on the prize, hold on. Hold on, hold on. Keep your eyes on the prize, hold on. Freedom's name is mighty sweet, soon one day we're gonna meet. Keep your eyes on the prize, hold on. Many good folks have fought and died, so we could sing here side by side. Keep your eyes on the prize, hold on. Hold on, hold on, kept quiet just a day too long. Keep your eyes on the prize, hold on. But the one thing we did right was the day we started to fight. Keep your eyes on the prize, hold on. Hold on, hold on. Keep your eyes on the prize, hold on. Hold on, hold on. Keep your eyes on the prize, hold on. Hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on.
We pause each week to share our joys and sorrows. We do this as a way of caring for each other. We invite you to share the joys and sorrows you hold in your heart today. If you are online, you may do so by entering that information in the chat box. Those of you here in person may have already lit a candle and submitted a joy or sorrow, which I will read. We will also offer a moment for those here to share out loud the names of those you may be holding in your heart today. So let us quiet ourselves in order to enter that holy space of listening and of breathing in a breath of life and breathing out a breath of peace. We hold all of these cares, joys, and concerns in our hearts, as well as the ones that remain unspoken.
All of us have this shell, I suppose, that we put around us, our defense mechanisms, right? Which we use, I guess, to protect the part of us that we call the soul, as if the soul was really that fragile, right? And so I think we overdo it. And we're not very good at it. That shell has cracks in it. And music has a way of seeping in and cleaving those cracks and pushing them open to let light in and let the soul out. And this is what happened to me several decades ago, one August in 1986, when my family suffered a major loss. And I had written songs before this, but I became a songwriter after that. About 6 months after my dad passed, I got this guitar, which took me a few decades to name it. It's called My Savior. It's been through it too. It's got a nice big hole in it. But this is the first song that I ever wrote of any depth. And it's called August Winds. August winds blow cold, this I never knew. Chances to be come to just a few. Summer ended early, winter hasn't gone. The autumn made me weary, spring has slept too long. August winds blow cold, this I never knew. Chances to be bold come to just a few. August winds blow cold, this I never knew. Spring tried to be bold, but August winds just blew and blew.
Claude Debussy on music. Works of art make rules. Rules do not make works of art. Art is the most beautiful of all lives. There is no theory, you have only to listen. Pleasure is the law. I love music passionately, and because I love it, I try to free it from barren traditions that stifle it. Is free art gushing forth, an open air art boundless as the elements, the wind, the sky, the sea. It must never be shut in and become academic art. Beauty must appeal to the senses, must provide us with immediate enjoyment, must impress us to insinuate ourselves without any effort on our part. If we look at the works of J.S. Bach, on each page we discover things which we thought were born only yesterday, from delightful arabesques to an overflowing of religious feeling, greater than anything we have ever discovered. How much has been explored, discarded before reaching the naked flesh of feeling? I love music passionately, and because I love it, I try to free it from barren traditions that stifle it. I wish to sing my interior visions with the naive candor of a child. Music is the expression of the movement of the water, the play of curves described by changing breezes. It is necessary to abandon yourself completely and let music do as it will with you. All people come to music to seek oblivion. But music, don't you know, is a dream from which the veils have been lifted. It's not even the expression of a feeling, it's a feeling itself. Music is the arithmetic of sounds, as optics is the geometry of light. On those who overanalyze his music, when you tear the wings off a butterfly, it is no longer a butterfly. Music is the silence between the notes.
Do not worry if our heart breaks, thousands more will appear. We have fallen in the arms of love, where all is music. If all the harps in the world were burned down, still, inside the heart, there will be hidden music playing. Do not worry if all the candles in the world flicker and die. We have the spark that starts the fire. The songs we sing are like foam on the surface of the sea of being, while the precious gems lie deep beneath. But the tenderness in our songs is a reflection of what is hidden in the depths. Stop the flow of your words, open the window of your heart, and let the Spirit speak.
Well, good morning.
Good morning.
I'll try to be less professorial this time around and limited myself to 5 pages in big print. So let's see what happens. So music and life. From time immemorial, there has always been life with art and music. The replica hanging from my neck is a testament of its importance to our genus. The flute is based on a 60,000-year-old fragment made from the thigh bone of a young cave bear found in Slovenia. It is particularly significant because it was crafted by Homo sapiens neanderthalis, not Homo sapiens sapiens. In fact, it predates flutes made by modern humans by about 20,000 years. And here's a little thing here. That's what they think it sounded like. I have actually the 3D print of the fragment that's based on, but it's rather hard to make a sound out of this, although some people can. It takes a lot of practice, but it's based on the fragment and then scanned and then printed in a 3D printer. Isn't that something? It's exactly the size. So such discoveries are pretty rare because the material used to make these instruments degrades easily, i.e. bamboo, bone, or wood. Stone sculptures are more common, as are examples of cave art. And I recently read that the art in caves such as at Chauvet were decorative, actually, and that these spaces functioned as performance venues because the acoustics are very favorable for music, as hopefully our new church will be. Now, the first music today that we heard was featured the Native American flute, which most likely originated in the Paleo-Indian period, about 12,000 to 8,000 BC. But the earliest intact Anasazi examples date from between 620 and 670. Of the 4 flutes that were discovered at the so-called Broken Flute Cave in northern Arizona, 2 were functional. One was discovered in the tomb of a shaman. The instrument rested under his chin, and let's see, I have one, like so. He was buried this way, And let's see, where was I? And so the instrument, I made this flute, this one from the museum specifications, and it's an inblown flute, which is more difficult to play than the one I did earlier, the so-called courting flute, of which we are more familiar. It's played more like a Japanese shakuhachi, sort of like, blowing into a Coke bottle, much like this fellow, right? And the original artifact's location in the tomb signifies that it was more than a way to win a young woman's charms, which is a story that's often told. It had great spiritual value, as I'll allude to later. And this is so much harder to play, and particularly when it's cold in the room. Let's see if I can get any sound out of it. I can't do it, see? It's too cold. But when I'm warmed up, it makes a really lovely sound, which leads me to the anecdote when the archaeologist who discovered it says that he took it from the body, and then he started to play it. And then all the birds woke up, the crows were crowing, the horses were neighing. I doubt it, because I'm a musician, I'm used to playing it, and you see how hard it is for me, and he claims to have played it, And I made it easier to play with this bevel cut like a quena. It was actually, they're open-ended like that. So it's very difficult to play, so I thought I'd show you that anyway. So I paired our performance in the morning with the handpan, or the so-called pantam, which this instrument has been created only since 1907. And it's a cross between a Caribbean steel drum and the Indian gantam. So you're familiar with the steel drums, they play with mallets, and the gantam is like a clay jug that one strikes, and the sound comes out of the open mouth of the jug. And so you've got this beautiful... He enjoyed playing it. That's very pleasant, and you see it a lot of yoga studios. I'm going to play in a yoga studio next Friday with this and the flutes, and I'm doing a whole program for them in Stony Brook, of all places, way out the island. So it's a combination of two instruments. And we transitioned through the land acknowledgement, which Susan read, and to the Cherokee morning song, which was sung in an ancient form of the Cherokee language. It's fitting since Kinderkamak, which I thought was Dutch, translates into a place of ceremonial dance and worship. That's from the Lenape tongue. Now, the ethnomusicologist Francis Densmore, who recorded Native American music on Edison cylinders at the turn of the last century, wrote, "Singing was not a trivial matter. Like the flute playing of young men, it was used in treating the sick, in securing success in war and the hunt, and in every undertaking which the Indian felt was beyond his power as an individual. If an Indian said, 'If a man is to do something more than human, he must have more than human power,' song was essential to the putting forth of this more than human power, and was used in connection with some prescribed action." And she was quite significant because she went to university at a time when women normally didn't attend university, and she went to Oberlin, and they were the first to admit women to the college, one of the first universities, and also people of ethnic and different people of color were allowed to come into this university. So she was doing work very, very strongly at that time. Because, and then I go on, because music, since the advent of the recording industry, has become a form of diversion or entertainment, we have forgotten that it has these deep spiritual roots, and that in its highest forms, it is an expression of the longings and aspirations of humankind. Now, the offertory which we sang, Ubi Caritas, originated in the church, the original church, that is the Catholic Church. The text originated in the 4th century, and the chant, the music, in the 8th century. It was featured on Maundy Thursday, which is coming up, in Holy Week, during the offertory of all places, and so we did it during the offertory. The writing of Western music was in its infancy at this time, a combination of graphic representation and an oral tradition. The most famous setting of the poem, Ubi Caritas, is by the 20th century French composer Maurice Duruflé, who employs the original plain chant. We performed a contemporary setting with an original melody, of which there are many, of course. And as I pointed out before, it is much more difficult to choose music for the UU church than for these other traditional churches. Other traditions have a lexicon, a calendar, and there are thousands of thousands of pieces written for any given day. For example, one might perform Asperges Me for the, by Anton Bruckner, for the Feast of the Circumcision, for instance. And we don't have the Feast of the Circumcision. and the text of that one translates, I skipped over it, "Thou shalt sprinkle me, O Lord, with hyssop, and I shall be cleansed. Thou shalt wash me, and I shall become whiter than snow. I guess it's a relief, maybe. Then, for our denomination, I must choose music that reinforces whatever topic arises week by week, right? And the only exception would be Christmas Eve, when our ethos is abandoned for traditional forms. Unitarian Easter is a different matter, though. So I've also tried to reflect the icons that were displayed in our old location, and we have performed Christian, Muslim, Jewish, and other examples of world music in this inclusive space. Today, we heard also Keep Your Eyes on the Prize, which speaks to current social issues, and we heard the words of Leonard Bernstein that have become increasingly relevant. There was a combination of his letters regarding, I think, maybe perhaps it was the Reagan election, and also the assassination of John F. Kennedy. So there were actually two texts combined for that reading. We heard also the voice of my musical alchemist, John Freund, who always sings what must be sung very beautifully, and Matt's excellent performance of Debussy's Arabesque, which represents some of the highest achievements in Western music. That is, music by nature of its notation that can be performed exactly as the composer might have done, note for note, with some room for interpretation. Other traditions are a little more nebulous. They're freer, and sometimes the piece can resemble the original, but it's more likely to be transformed, such as the practice of jazz. Performance is always different, when you go to a jazz club, any given song that's covered. So it's a little bit different approach. And as Britt read the selection by Rumi, I played the kinnor harp from the Middle East, supposedly the instrument that King David used when he wrote the Psalm. So it's actually modeled after artifacts that are in various museums. And later we'll sing together the hymn number 332, Perfect Singer, which uses the melody of the brass choir in Bela Bartok's, or they say Bartok Bela, his concerto for orchestra. Be careful of the third bar, as it is in a different tonal universe than the rest of the tune. One of the propensities of Eastern European music. And another thing is that in that type of music, not only do you have different scales and harmonies being used, you have different rhythms. We tend to do 1, 2, 3, 4, or 1, 2, 3, and pretty much. And they'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And I did a Latvian piece with the other chorus that was in 13/7. So imagine that. And they did it very well. It took a lot of work, you see. And so be careful of that. You will also find the text for all the songs we performed today, as well as statements from our musical staff and choir members as to why they make music. So it's fitting that we'll end today's service with Greg Gilpin's Why We Sing, and the text is self-explanatory. I also want to thank Maxiel and Susan Springstead for assembling today's booklet, where you can see the pictures of our lovely group, and also Susan for leading a service today so wonderfully. And it's been a pleasure. And look, I did it. I can do it. I'm giving a lecture at Fordham next week, and they said 15 minutes. So that's going to be tough. It's an audition lecture. In closing, anthropologists and biologists have not agreed on an evolutionary imperative for art and music, but many of us feel that in art lies the salvation of the world, and we must take seriously Bernstein's admonition to make music more intensely, more beautifully, and more devotedly than ever before. And so we shall. And now, I believe we will rise and sing our final hymn. Is that right? I've lost my place. Yes, the perfect singer, 332. Watch that third measure. Matt will play it all the way through. Good, stand. Right here. And now it's normal.
perfect singer, songs of earth, rise on every field and hearth. Let our voices sound again, ancient songs of joy and pain. All your creatures cry for life, suffer hurt in angry strife. Seek compassion, find release in the covenant of peace. Sing a sacred melody for the justice that shall be. Let our harmonies resolve dissonance in steadfast love. Steadfast seeker, find our song, woven into life made strong. Let the patterns of surprise kindle hope with each sunrise. Ah, we got that. We did.
Please join me in saying our chalice extinguishing words based on CUC's covenant while Becky extinguishes our chalice. We extinguish this chalice flame, but not our promise to each other, to act with grace, to hold each other in love, to serve this community and our world. This promise of the heart serves as a reminder of how we live together. May it bring joy to our collective lives.
And the closing words from Bill Holmes' Magnificat, just a fragment from it. The music begins, it curls, laves, exalts, weeps, thumps, celebrates. Every 2 minutes a new galaxy dances through damp church air into the ears. Then the body, ribbons of stars, garlands of planets, space full of nothing but light. It unlocks me and I weep.
Sound of hope, a sound of peace, a sound that celebrates and speaks what we believe, a sound of love, a sound so strong. It's amazing what is given when we share a song. This is why why we lift our voice, why we stand as one in harmony. This is why we sing, why we lift our voice. Take my hand and sing with me. Soothe the soul, bend the heart, bring together lives that have been torn apart. Share the joy, find a friend. It's a never-ending gift that circles back again. This is why we sing, why we lift our voice. Why
5 minutes to spare.